Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to episode 178 of NerdPod Generations. As always, I am one of your illustrious hosts, Steve Taylor, along with the always lovely Al Judson. Hello, sir.
Hello, friends and enemies. We did it.
Welcome back to the show. It's been it seems to be a typical thing each year where the holidays become so chaotic that we take a little extended break. This was 2 months. This was a long time.
I think actually we should talk about this off camera, but I think we should actually plan for that this year. I had some ideas on how to plan for that.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen again as much as we don't want it to.
Because like my year already, the hopes and dreams and aspirations of my year are going to be crazy by the end of the year. Like things are gonna hit the wall a little bit. If everything goes as it's supposed to.
And with me with the holidays, and of course I got my normal sickness in the middle of December where I had a bad cold that lasted 3 weeks. So all of that kind of works into place. So it is our return show. We are doing it remotely, but it's we're playing with technology today because I have a child with the flu and I don't want to pass along. I don't want to be a carrier to any of the germs.
And let me tell you, I deeply appreciate that as the person who would be the insickified. I don't want to be sick right now. I'm good. I got too much going on right now.
Well, I've always hated you have family or friends who you plan an event and they come over and it's like, oh yeah, my kids are all sick, but we're here anyways. It's like, dude.
Did you not learn from COVID?
Yes. Even not COVID. It's like, I don't want to get the flu. I don't want to get, even a cold. I don't want to get anything.
No. Like, that's the thing that's so funny to me is, especially with office culture, there seems to be this like, COVID, but the past is the past. And it's like, no. We learned a lot about what we can and can't put up with when it comes to life. And there's literally no reason to go back to some of these old practices. But the capitalist machine is just like, no, this is the only way I know how to work.
And I'll tell you right now, the greatest thing in the world is working from home. Those 2 days I work from home, it's like,
It's way better.
It's the best.
It's way better. And
I'm far more productive.
Yeah. This is the thing, is that like I've worked from home for 5 years. I have never missed a deadline. I think I've only missed like 3 emails in 5 years working from home. Like, I'm not saying everybody is as judicious as I am, but I am saying that the vast majority of people I think can be trusted or at least given a trial period to work from home. And I don't think the world will collapse, mainly because we did it 5 years ago, and the world didn't collapse. At least any more than it already was. The sinkhole was already pretty big at that point.
Over the last month, there were a few occasions that the days I had to go into work, the snow was so bad, I'm like, I'm going to die on the way home.
Yeah,
and it's,
right.
It's like that is out of the equation when you work from home, and that is the biggest bonus that I love. I absolutely adore it.
Oh, yeah, there were like 3 weeks here in December where it was snowing like fucking crazy. It was just all day, every day snowing. People didn't believe me when I would say, no, it's been snowing here for 3 days straight. No, it literally snowed for 3 days straight. And poor Kelly had to drive in it at one point. She volunteered to go and pick something up, and she got home and she was like, that was not worth it. We should not have done that. That was a bad idea.
No, it's not worth it at all. But you know what? We're back. We're better than ever. So, folks, if this is your first time listening to us, make sure to go to nerdpodgen.com. There are links not only to the most recent podcasts on our homepage, but there are links to both YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts. On YouTube, you'll be able to find a bunch of clips that Al has been uploading of past and present episodes. So please, if you go in, make sure to give us a like and subscribe to the channels. And we are excited to be doing this again because I can't tell you how much I have missed this. I've had a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
I haven't watched the things I should be watching. Like, I have not watched one Stranger Things, and I'll be honest, I have not been really, like, ripping at the door to watch Stranger Things. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
How much of it has been spoiled for you at this point? Honestly,
not really much, but I was never big on spoilers. Like, so you can spoil something, but if I'm excited to see it, I'll still see it. I don't know, I just really don't care.
It was one of those things where within like 24 hours, it felt like spoilers were already leaking out onto the internet of it dropping. Yeah. And it was just like, wow, okay. Usually the internet, we all kind of have this thing where we all agree, like, no, we're going to be cool about it. But the internet this time was like, no, I got to talk about everything. And one day we'll talk about Conformity Gate. It's stupid. It's a fucking dumb idea. All I'll say is this about Conformity Gate, because this isn't a spoiler. If you don't like the ending to something, that's okay. That's an okay feeling to have. And you don't have to come up with a conspiracy theory about how the thing that you didn't like is actually only a lead into something that's going to be even better than the thing you didn't like. Whoa!
Yeah.
Or it can just be the end of a thing and you don't like how it ends. And that's okay. That's fine. We can live with that.
And it's customary with TV shows. I mean, to me, and I'm not even being facetious on this, in my life of watching shows, I really can only say there was one show that I watched the finale and said, I feel good with that finale, and that's Quantum Leap. For those of you who've never seen Quantum Leap, great show with Scott Bakula.
Did he leap home?
No, the thing is, okay, so it's not a spoiler because it's been like 30 years. The final episode, he leaps into a bar, and the bartender they kind of hint to it, but they don't really point it, but it's God. And in this bar, a lot of the people that he's interacted with are taking over these other characters in this other scenario he's in. And so he's helping fix this one scenario, but the whole time he's like asking God, is this what I should be doing? Like, and he's like, I'm just the bartender. I don't know what you're doing. And it ends up the ending. Oh my God. It makes me so sad. So do you know his sidekick, Al? The guy who's the
guy
hologram.
that he talks to on the radio, the guy in the chair.
Yes. When he was in the military, he was thought to have died in combat. And so his wife at the time ended up moving on. And by the time he got back, she had already moved on. And it crushed him, and he became this womanizer for the rest of his life. But he always regretted. So God gave Sam the choice of either being able to go home or being able to leap to the point that she gets the letter saying he's dead, Al's dead, and tell her, it's not true, he's coming home, just wait for him. So he had the choice of going home or helping save his friends, and he decided to save his friend, and at the very end it says, Sam Beckett never made it home. Wow. So he just continued leaping for the remainder of his life. And you're like, oh my God, but it was such a beautiful scene. He shows up and the woman's crying and he says to her, he goes, I know you don't know me. I'm a friend of Al's. He's alive. Wait for him. He's coming home. And it was a great ending. It was so good. Very sad, but really good. And I've never seen a TV show that's had an ending like that. Like a long running show, they usually are disappointing.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like I'm going back through all the shows that I anticipated the ending of. We can put Game of Thrones in its own thing. I'll say this.
No, it's so terrible.
Without spoiling anything, the people who are comparing the Stranger Things Season 5 to Game of Thrones Season 8, you clearly have recency bias because Season 8 was a catastrophic wildfire. This, I'm not saying it's perfect, but I think it's a perfectly cromulent ending to the story. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not a 10. It's not a 10. But it's not a 2. Game of Thrones Season 8 was a 2. Game of Thrones Season 8 was just about, like, here's this Chekhov's gun. I'm going to fire it, and it's going to backfire. Okay, well, that didn't work. Let me get the next Chekhov's gun. Okay, nope, that's a backfire, too. Okay, let me get the next one. Ow, God. And you just keep getting shot in the face by your own Chekhov's gun as they go off, and you're like, man, these reveals all suck. They're all terrible and degrading to the characters and completely wipe out all kinds of lore and ideas that we built for years and years and years. And Stranger Things, I don't think got anywhere near that.
It's where Game of Thrones rushed it, and Stranger Things, I think, might have overstayed its welcome.
I think that's their biggest problem, is just that they took too long. They took too long getting to where they needed to go, and not in terms of how many episodes there were, but just literally in terms of this show should have come out in 2024. And I think that would have helped a lot is if they had just gone, I think season 4 came out in 23, I want to say. So if they had just gone right into shooting and tried to get it out the next year, I think that would have been the best way to do it. But, I mean, I get why some people say that the Duffers didn't have a plan to finish things. I also think that there were a lot of elements that tied off really well. I would have done things differently, of course. But at the same time, I'm not sitting here like, oh, you ruined the entire thing. I can't watch any of Stranger Things ever again and think like, oh, I love this show because all the time I'm just going to be thinking in the back of my mind, this show sucks. Like, in the au revoir of the first ones that come to mind are How I Met Your Mother, Lost, and Dexter. Those were the three shows where I was like, I need to know how these end. All three had really disappointing endings. I would say Stranger Things season 5 is better than all of those endings. And so that's all I need. I don't need it to be perfect, right? I like the stuff that they did. I think they should have done some other stuff. I think that they had plenty of opportunities to do cool things that they didn't do. I think that they came up with some stuff that I didn't know that they were going to do. So, like, it's a mixed bag, certainly. In the, I think my overall ranking of it was the best season of Stranger Things is season 4, then season 3, then season 1, then season 5, then season 2. It's not the worst season. Honestly, you can make an argument that if season 1 wasn't the first season of the show, season 5 is better than season 1. But season 1, you have to give it credit because it's the first season. So it's like, okay, yeah, it's the third best season. It's not 3. It's not 4. I'll 100% say that. It's not 3. It's not 4.
And I mean, I'll be honest, since I don't know if or when I will watch it, I did watch a video online about the finale, about the ending. And the interesting thing is there's this conspiracy going around that they're actually still in the Upside Down and Vecna's like creating this. And if you watch some of the things they point out, it's like, that's not a bad like conspiracy.
I get where they're coming from. There's some really dumb continuity errors. There's some continuity errors that are so stupid that you can't help but be like, oh, it must mean something. This is so stupid that it must mean something. I don't know that it does mean anything. I think that the problem with Conformity Gate is just that there's not enough evidence for it. For anybody who doesn't know, Conformity Gate is this idea that the ending to Stranger Things that we get is not the true ending. The problem with Conformity Gate was that the idea was that not only is it not the true ending, but the true ending is still coming and you just have to wait for it. And it's that was where Conformity Gate got stupid. It's one thing to be like, I have this fan theory about what actually happens at the end of Stranger Things. It's another thing to be like, my fan theory is not only going to be right, but like so many people that predicted the apocalypse, I'm going to say that it comes out on this day. And it's like, no, that obviously isn't going to be a thing. And at the end of the day, this is still a fan theory. Like, you don't have evidence to back it up given what we're shown. And some of the evidence, like the one that I think of is there's a big crank that they have for electricity at the radio station that they've taken over. And in some scenes, the crank is red and in some it's gray. That, my friends, is a continuity error. Is it a dumb continuity error? It's an egregious, so stupid continuity error. It is not some kind of mental deflection of like, oh, but where's the actual world end? Whoa! It's like, no, it's just when they did pickups, didn't set dress right. That's all it is. That's all it is. This is not some grand conspiracy. This is just some idiot didn't dress the set properly when they did reshoots. That's all it is.
I'm planning on trying. See, the problem is this damn episodes are so long now that it's really hard to find the time, but I am trying to find the time. So, folks, what we're planning on doing today is we're going to, since we haven't recorded for a couple months, figure we'll do a little bit of a year-end, what we think of pop culture in 2025. So we kind of have a best of TV, films, and games, and then, we'll have like a dishonorable mention, like singular worst of.
I went back through my list and I was like, oh, yep, that could be the worst thing that I saw this year. That could be the worst thing that I saw this year. That's probably the worst thing that I saw this year.
And so what we'll do is while we're talking, like, I'll do my top 3 of TV, kind of give a little talk about each one and why I picked them. I'll do my worst, and then we'll move on to Al, have him do, and then we'll back and forth like that. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, so we're going to start with TV. So, best of TV, I'm going to start number 1. But no, actually, you know what? I'll start number 3. The reason this is number 3 is it started in 2025. It's being continued in 2026, and that's Percy Jackson Season 2.
Okay.
So the Percy Jackson show is in Season 2 is following the second book, which is The Sea of Monsters, and they have done a spectacular job. Really, they're doing a better job of kind of sticking to the books this time than they did in the first one. The first season was really good, and I enjoyed it, and it was. They're still far and away better than the movies in a million ways. And this season 2, though, has been so good, but it is still ongoing. So that's why I have it at number 3. 1 and 2 was tough. I didn't want to be a fanboy. So 2, I did pick Strange New World Season 3. It took me a while to watch it. I watched it all in about 4 days.
Yeah.
Because once I started watching it, I was just being spoon-fed joy, and I kept watching it.
I'm sure it'll be up there when I finally do see. I still haven't seen it. I'm waiting for it to drop on Vudu.
I love it. The thing I don't love is some of the reactions of people you can tell people that don't know what Star Trek is. Because they're like, oh, it doesn't really have a lot of action, and they keep jumping. It's like, dude, that's what Star Trek is, though. Like, everything... I'll give you an example. It's not really a spoiler because it's the main thing that was in, like, the preview of the show. The episode where they all become Klingons. Or not Klingons, Vulcans. So some of the bridge crew have to become Vulcans to help Spock in a situation. The level of detail they do, because not only are they all Vulcans, but then La'an starts acting a little different, like very aggressive. And it's because she has Khan Noon Singh's blood in her. When they gave her the serum to turn into a Vulcan, she became a Romulan. And it was I was like, dude, that is pure genius.
Yeah.
Because she looks like a Vulcan, everyone's like, oh, she's a Vulcan. No. Because she has that genetically modified blood, she became red. It's like, dude, that was But the show itself, episodes were great, storylines were great, they ended a bunch of storylines. I love that the final episode of the season isn't a cliffhanger like they've been doing. And it's not like they don't believe the show was going to continue because they've already been given the green light for, I think, 4 and 5.
4 and 5, yeah. I think they have said that 5 is going to be the last season, though.
Which is fine. You know, I'd be curious if they're going to do a spin-off with... There were a couple episodes they were really trying to get together, Kirk and Scotty, and, like, kind of getting... the other crew, so hopefully that Strange New Worlds will roll into, like,
OG.
Kirk taking over and having everyone, yeah. But it was a great season. I absolutely loved it. It's still my favorite show on TV, but I didn't want to be biased because I'm a big fanboy of it. I had to put my number 1 as Andor Season 2. You know, of course not the first 3 episodes, which were horrible, but the ending of that show was so great. Those last, 6 episodes were... so unbelievable that Andor had to take the top spot. And it is sad to say, and I can't believe I had to pick this as my worst TV show I watched all year, it's Doctor Who.
Oh, yeah.
Doctor Who was so bad this past season, and the finale and everything that went into it was so atrocious that for Christmas, since the kids have not really watched, they've only watched, I think, 2/3 of the Eccleston season. We decided to watch the Matt Smith Christmas episode that's like the Scrooge.
We did too. We watched that one on Christmas Eve.
Oh, so good.
The episode's perfect.
And the kids loved it. And I'm like, that is good, Doctor. Like, you watch that and you're like, that's what makes this show great. And this new one, I gave it every chance, and I gave the new Doctor every chance. And the showrunner coming back and changing the dynamic of the show was just it was an abomination. And I know they're still in talks about continuing it. I just don't know how they can fix it. Like, it's so broken at the moment.
I don't know if they can. I think it needs a break. It's like Star Wars. It needs a break. It needs a 5-year gap to rebuild the kind of juju that it needs to keep going. Because right now, we're forcing the machine to run without enough lubricant in it. And the gears are grinding, and there's a hell of a noise coming out of it. And it's like, I think we just got to turn the machine off for a minute. For Marvel, for Star Wars, for Doctor Who, for so many things. You just got to turn the machine off for a little bit.
And I agree with you 100% because that's happened before with Doctor Who, and it was the best thing that ever happened to it.
Exactly.
Took a break, and then the best seasons.
Yeah, I look back at Star Wars. What used to make Star Wars special? It came around every 30 years. That's what made Star Wars special.
Exactly.
When it came out every year, it diminished the coolness of Star Wars. It was like, oh, if you don't like this one, you can just wait till the next one. Oh, you didn't like that one either? Well, just wait for the next one. Oh, it's still bad? Well, just wait for the next one. And it's like, this sucks. This is not a way to handle this as a series of films, as a series of TV shows. This is bad. This is bad stuff. I'm
curious now with Dave Filoni running the show now that Kathleen Kennedy's stepping down, what that's going to mean for Star Wars.
We'll see. I mean, I almost want a mulligan on season 2 of Andor because, like, you want to talk about just absolutely ruining something. I'll get into it a little bit more, but Andor is on both my best and worst list for TV this year. Like that's how it went. And that is 100% because of how they decided to handle the situation, how the episodes were released, how many seasons they were going to do, what their overall plan was, how they were going to recoup losses in terms of the plan that they had, trying to make it fit into the timeline that they had. And it was just like, man, this sucks. This sucks. You had such a cool thing. And if you had let it breathe and given it time and allowed it to grow, it could have been a really cool thing. But you didn't do that. And you tried to like flash grow it in a lab. It's not bad, but it's not good. It's not what it should be.
And you need to, and the problem which I'm hoping he can get away from Disney is it doesn't have to be funny. You don't have to have humor. You don't have to have cute things. Like the first season, and especially I know we have gushed about the prison episodes, you can have a gritty drama with no humor in it, and it be fantastic.
Well, and like the flow of season 1 is so much better than season 2. Because it's not like you have these 5 episodes arcs where it's like Stranger Things and stuff takes time to develop and everything. But you still do have, kind of like Doctor Who, these arcs that do take more than 1 episode to conclude. And they are allowed to breathe, and they are allowed to grow at their own rate. So the prison episodes in particular, that takes its time. That takes its time to let the story develop and grow and build. By rushing it along, you lose so much of that development and character growth. And it mutes so much of the meaning, so that if it weren't the times that we live in now, I don't think Andor is as important a piece as it ends up being. I think it's because it's Zeitgeistian that it really becomes important. But if it wasn't for the times that we live in, I don't know that it would have the impact that it had.
And that's the funny thing about it is people looked at it as a topical show, but in reality, what's happening now became more like the Empire. And so it's like, they're really showing what the Empire was, but it's just now a lot of stuff happening in the world is what the Empire was doing.
Yeah.
So it seems like it is more topical than it really was.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Which is crazy.
If this comes out 10, 15 years ago, I think it's a really sacred piece of Star Wars lore. But I think it also is, frowned upon for how it is released. As is, in 10 years, I don't know how people are going to look back on Andor. When I show my kids Andor, I don't know what their reception to it is going to be. I anticipate that they're going to be confused why we were jogging along in third gear and suddenly the gear shift is just going up and down and up and down, and we're speeding up and slowing down and speeding up and slowing down. And it's just like, I want you to pace this out better. So
no, I agree.
I'll just conclude this Andor bit and roll into it. Andor is both on my best and worst for TV this year.
Okay.
Full disclosure, most of the TV I watched that's from this year was bad. So a lot of the stuff that is from 2025 fell into the bad category. So for the good category, it's all stuff that came out before 25, but I saw it in 2025. The way I phrased it is new to me. The best new to me things that I saw this year. Andor was genuinely good after the first 3 episodes.
Which were the worst things.
But the first 3 episodes fucking were trash. They were wretched garbage, awful terribleness. And the level of bad that they were was compounded by the fact that the rest of the season needed that time really badly to establish some really important storylines that just kind of felt rushed through. They did the best that they could with what they were given, but at the same time, I do think that there is a better way to go about this, even if it just means like, I don't know what the negotiation process was with Disney to figure out, we're only going to do 1 more season of this. I don't understand it as a decision. It doesn't make any sense to me. So like the stuff that we got is so good, but it's a very mixed bag. So I do have to knock it for that. So the best things I saw last year, where I really enjoyed watching My Hero Academia. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun to go into and to see this superhero story that I've been avoiding that was so fun and so like, almost predictive. Like I could kind of look at it and be like, oh, I know where they're going with this. I know what's going to happen next. So I love that. That was great. I really fucking love Fall of the House of Usher. Like, that has stuck with me since Halloween.
Yeah.
That was so fucking good. And I know it didn't come out in 25. It came out in 2023. I don't care. It was so good. And I loved every moment of it. Quick aside, I watched Life of Chuck, which is done by Mike Flanagan, the same guy. And that was a crazy movie. I don't want to spoil it, because the beginning of that movie is the most stressful 30-ish minutes of my viewing experience. It is so bonkers stressful. And as the story develops, you're like, oh, I see where this is go. I see what oh my God, this is so smart. And so like it's a complicated movie. It gives you a lot of emotion right up front, right in the gut. And it like hits you a few times and you're like, Jesus Christ, I don't even know what to do with some of the things I'm being told. This is a nightmare. This is terrifying. That I don't like this. And then it rolls into this other coming of age story. And you're like, what is that? And it ends in this horror note. It's really good. It's a good movie. I liked it a lot. Mike Flanagan condensed down into an hour and a half. You can still get what felt like a whole Netflix series out of that. But Fall of the House of Usher was so good. I still can't get over how good that show was.
That was spectacular. That was
so good. I know, again, it's technically 2024, but I really loved Arcane Season 2. You want to talk about hitting something and nailing it? I really thought that they got that down just right. That was the right flavor, the right time, the right pacing, the right characterization. It never felt rushed. It never felt too slow. It was really good. The music was excellent. The animation was spectacular. The fight scenes were... If I had an argument, I would say maybe the fight scenes could be drawn out a little bit longer because they were so fun and interesting to watch. But the characterization is so good and the characters themselves are so good that it really kind of culminates so wonderfully. You know, I really love that. In the same way that like Castlevania Nocturne, like I just love how that just like it builds and builds and builds and builds and builds and crescendos in this beautiful way. And you're just like, wow. But by far the best TV show I watched last year was Attack on Titan. Undoubtedly. The best TV show I saw last year was Attack on Titan.
You gushed about that.
No, I'm not going to gush about it again, but it like months later, it's still by far the best thing I saw. And it's the single best war allegory I've ever seen. It's so good and awful and terrifying and upsetting and great. And so I love that.
That first episode's nuts.
On my worst list, the beginning of Andor Season 2. And I would also put Daredevil Born Again. I look back at Daredevil Born Again, and it's not that it's unified bad. But when it breaks, it shatters. You know, like it is not just like we can work around that. Like, it's gone. The illusion is gone. And you're just left being like, this is such an easy thing to fix. And I'm so upset because this would be so easy to fix. And instead, I don't even know what the plan was here. The whole thing with Muse, everything with Kingpin, where it's the super predictable, he gives up on being the Kingpin only to actually become, I don't fucking care about this. This is boring and trite. The stuff with Vanessa, this sucks. You know, the fact that they had Daredevil talking about needing to put together a team, and then he walks out into a bar and there's no superheroes there. This sucks, man. Like, this sucks so hard. And it just, like, any goodwill I might have for bringing in Charlie Cox and the writing and all these stuff. Like, I love the scene where it's just Matt going around the courthouse, right? He has a public defendant that he has to work with, and he's going around to lawyers, and he's making deals, and he's trying to do this thing, and the guy that he's trying to defend is like, I don't want what you're selling, man. I didn't do what they told me I did. The only thing I stole was a box of Cracker Jacks. Why am I going to prison over that? And it's just, I love that moment, but there's just so many moments with Matt's stupid girlfriend, and they're stupid, like, she's the therapist for the Kingpin. This is so dumb. And where is Karen Page? And you killed Foggy Nelson?
Oh, I never forgave them on that.
And you brought back Bullseye but gave him a terrible costume? Like, there were just so many elements where I'm like, this is so easy to do. And you're fucking it up. Why are you fucking it up? And it's because literally no one is allowed to tell no to Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige will say, we're doing it this way, and then no one can say anything about it. Otherwise, you're fired and sent to Siberia. And it's just like, man.
The only one that ever said no to him made the best Marvel movie potentially ever, and that was Ryan Reynolds, who said, "No, we're going to make Deadpool the way we wanted," and it was the best Marvel movie potentially ever. And it's because Feige really didn't have his finger on it.
Yeah, it reminds me of No Way Home in that, like, that movie is not good. It's not good because if you pull the nostalgia skeleton out of the movie, there is no movie. There should be.
Yep.
All the elements are here. There should be a movie, but because the entire thing is based on 20 years of other Spider-Man movies, there is no actual movie to be seen here. There's a handful of really cool moments. There's not a movie. This is a clip show at best. Like, this is not a good movie, and it's the best of the home series, which says nothing. And I'm just left being like, this. I can't get excited about this. I can't get excited about Daredevil season 5. I can't do it. I can't get excited about Wonder Man. They're dropping a new trailer for Wonder Man. I'm not going to watch it because last time I watched it, it was a fucking fiasco. I'm not doing this, man. I was shocked when I liked Fantastic Four as much as I did. I'm not doing this.
Wonder Man has the potential to be the acolyte of Marvel.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a heaping trash fire.
They've been bad things. I mean, it's ridiculous, the basis of the story and the fact that you think, oh, you know, the best way to really kick this show off is we got to bring Trevor back.
Insane.
It's like, no!
Absolutely
insane. He's been
insane.
the worst thing about all your movies.
All I can think is, in the inevitable moment where Kevin Feige was murdering his producers and burying the bodies, Ben Kingsley was in the corner and he didn't see him. And he's like, hi, Ben, Sir Ben. Ben Kingsley like, you're going to make me a lot of money for the next dozen years. I was like, okay, Ben, Sir Ben, we're going to make you a lot of money, I guess. Why is he here? Why is it? He brings nothing to this. He detracts so much. Why is he here? It's insane to me. If this was a beloved character, I'd be like, okay, I get it. It's not. I've never heard anyone say that they like Trevor Slattery. I've never heard anyone say that.
It's the other way around.
It's insane to me that you keep forcing this as an issue.
He's attached to the most divisive movie in the MCU, which I still say to this day, Iron Man 3. People tend to just not only hate that movie, but what it did to the Mandarin.
Oh, just awful.
Primarily through Trevor Slattery, most Marvel fans see that as the worst movie of the MCU because it's so bastardized. One of the greatest villains, and you did it through Ben Kingsley, who then you put back in. Now, once again, I've said this before, they fixed the Ben Kingsley thing, in my opinion, with that Marvel short where they had him in prison and the actual Mandarin kidnaps him to kill him. But
and then they ruined it again
by having the Mandarin say, well, we're not going to kill him, you're going to be my simple Jack, like Tropic Thunder, where you're going to put on performances.
We're going to put him back in fucking Shang-Chi and he's going to come up again. Why? Why?
It's so dumb.
I love the idea that we had, which is that Shang-Chi is brought into a prison and he sees a skeleton in the corner dressed as Trevor Slattery. And we're all like, oh, so that's what happened to him. And then we all move on and never talk about him ever again.
Yes.
I'm so done. I'm so done with it. I love Simon Williams. Simon Williams is one of my favorite characters. I love Simon Williams. I love the conflict he has where he loves being an Avenger, but he hates the Avengers. And he loves these people in his life, but he doesn't know how to deal with the people in his life. You could have a whole thing where it's Simon and Hank McCoy as roommates, and Hank is just a geneticist, and there's no mutants in this world, so he's just a guy, and then you have the whole thing happen with the X-Men, and you're like, oh, Hank McCoy! I know Hank McCoy! You're doing nothing! You've done nothing! And I'm so tired of it. You did something so cool when you had Mole Man steal the Pan Am building. I was so happy. That was such a great moment. And then you come right back to this and you're like, I'm not, that took all of my guts. I have nothing left in me. And you're just like, God damn it. You guys fucking suck. Yeah. You guys suck.
And I'll be honest, all of these stupid little trailers they have coming for Doomsday,
I haven't watched any of them. I haven't watched any of them because why would I? Because in the same way that I won't watch the Wonder Man trailer, Marvel notoriously puts things in the trailer that never make the final product. All the time. They've been doing it for years, to the point where there were toys made for scenes that never happened because they got cut at the last minute. And I'm just like, I'm not doing this, man. I'm not going to see what bill of goods you're going to sell me so you can pull the rug out from under me, because it's either A, going to look like trash and make me angry, or B, it's not going to look like trash and I'm going to say, well, maybe it'll be okay. And then I'm going to watch it and it's going to be trash.
Well, it's sad because all of the mini trailers are the most obvious member berries.
Yeah.
I think I've ever seen in any kind of trailer where it's like, hey, you remember this character you like that is gone? They're back. Remember this character you like? They're gone. They're back. And it's like, dude, somebody had compared it to the Rise of Skywalker, where they're like, we need to fix it, so we're just going to bring back all the things that people liked into a mess, and then just be like, here you go. And that's what this looks like it's turning into.
These are all the flavors you like, right? We put them all into a pie, and it's going to be awesome. It's like, no, this is going to be disgusting. I'm not going to watch this. So, it tastes
like shit.
It's going to be a fucking nightmare. So I would say that those are the two that really hit me as far as bad shows go.
That is a solid list, my friend. All right, so we're going to move on to films. Mine is very horror-oriented.
I'm looking at my list, and it's also extremely horror-oriented.
So, number 3, horror. Make sure that last OR in there, horror-oriented, because we don't give the wrong ideas to people. So, number 3 for me, now mind you, these were easily could have been number 1s in any given year. Number 3 was 28 Years Later. Love that movie. Thought it was great. Once again, the jury's out on the next one coming out. It hasn't come out yet, right?
It comes out in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it hasn't come out yet.
I'm terrified because it comes out in January. That's such a death knell. That's so bad.
Exactly. I am a little nervous about that. But 28 Years Later, great. Love it.
Great movie.
I mean,
love
for breaking that trend of long-waiting gestated sequels that typically end up bad, this turned out so good. Mm-hmm. It's at 3, though, because number 2, Frankenstein, which I know we haven't talked about. I fucking loved Frankenstein. I thought it was good. Amazing.
It's devastatingly good.
I thought it was spectacular in so many ways, and it's like jaw-dropping when I watched it. I was just sitting there in awe.
It's actual filmmaking, that's why.
Oh, absolutely actual filmmaking. Del Toro, this movie was such a beautiful film, such a labor of love. You could tell it was something that he put his heart and soul into. And Oscar Isaac was so good in this movie. I mean, every part of it was spectacular, and it had jaw-dropping just scenery, of course. I wouldn't expect anything less. It was just so fucking good.
It was amazing. And, I agree.
And like I said, typically and in any given year it would be number 1, but I had to put Sinners as number 1. I just love that movie. Mm-hmm. I think it is spectacular. I know it won't happen, and I really could care less about award shows, especially knowing that the Oscars in 2029 is moving to YouTube. But I want to see Michael B. Jordan get the Oscar for Best Actor, because his performance in the dual roles was so spectacular, and the movie itself was just so good. I watched it again recently. The music, the tone, the performances were just spectacular. Like, it's just spot on. And it's weird to think that a movie like Frankenstein, which was so spectacular in many ways, wouldn't be number 1 because it came out the same year as Sinners. And it took me a while, I'll be honest. I went back and forth. The reason why I watched both of them recently is I was really going back and forth on them. I could not make up my mind. And then after watching Sinners for the last time, I'm like, I gotta give it to this, just because even though it's a story that has sort of been told in From Dusk Till Dawn, and, there have been vampire stories, it was unique enough that I think that's what put it over Frankenstein, because Frankenstein was a retelling in the best way you could ever retell this story, but it was still just a retelling, where Sinners was unique enough that it was enough to overtake it for me.
It was a new movie. It was not. Yeah. It was not. It was based on vampires. That's it. It wasn't based on it was just based on vampires. That's it. And it's like, great, let's fucking go. Disney is saying that nobody wants to see new movies. Let's fucking prove them wrong. Come on. Yeah. No, I agree with you.
And I'll be honest, this list wasn't hard because I could not think of 3 any other movies that I would put on a best of list that were new to this year that I've seen. Maybe Weapons. That was kind of back and forth, maybe with 28 Years Later. But other than that, I'm like, there hasn't been any new movies that I've actually, like, as much as we say I liked Fantastic Four, and I did, I want to put it on a best of list.
I wouldn't put it on a best of list.
I didn't like it that much.
No. I like it because the rest of the Marvel movies have been trash for the last almost 10 years. So,
exactly.
A non-trash Marvel movie, oh my God, give it to me right now, because even just a mediocre Marvel movie is so much better than what we've been given that I'm just like, great, let's fucking go. Oh, you're going to make references and stick to them and actually try and recreate the comics? I'm in. Let's fucking go.
And it did help a lot that the one we saw prior to this was Thunderbolt. So it's like, okay, Fantastic Four is like the greatest thing ever compared to those shitty movies.
Thunderbolts wasn't like, I thought it was going to be catastrophically bad. It didn't make catastrophic, but it was bad. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
It wasn't good.
To me, it was like the first Suicide Squad movie with Will Smith. Yeah. That movie had its moments that I enjoyed, but it was a bad movie.
Yeah.
Same thing with Thunderbolts. It had some moments, but it wasn't a good.
It wasn't good. Movie. It wasn't good.
No, not even a little bit. But the worst movie of the year I saw in December, Jurassic World Rebirth.
Is it bad?
That movie is horrible.
So wait, explain this to me, because I've been so curious. Does it take place in the same world, or is it a full reboot?
It is in the same world.
How is that possible? It doesn't make any sense with what I know.
See, the thing, you just said it. It doesn't make any sense. This movie is such an unbelievable waste of time and energy. And I love Scarlett Johansson. She was terrible in this. I love Mahershala Ali. Terrible. The only good thing is, they were setting him up to be the token black guy that gets killed. He survives. Spoilers. Which made me happy because I love Mahershala Ali. There was like this weird side story so the story is, there's a scientist that wants to get samples of dinosaurs, and the dinosaurs are dying across the planet, but there's a small island where there's a grouping that still are alive and still doing well, and they need to get some samples of them because there's a doctor / love interest for Scarlett Johansson who wants to use it to make medicine to help heal the world. And so she puts together her ragtag group of people, and Mahershala Ali's like the boat captain, and they put together this ragtag group, and they go out. But then there's this separate storyline of, okay, there are still dinosaurs in the world, though, and in the oceans. And there's this father with his 2 kids and one of his daughter's horribly written, obnoxious boyfriend, who are going on a boat trip, like a sailboat trip, in waters that still have these giant dinosaurs swimming in the water.
What could happen?
Yeah. And then they team up together, and then they get separated, then they come back together, and of course there's a genetically altered dinosaur that throws everything in, and then there's the scene with the T-Rex where you're like, oh, the T-Rex, who was cool in the first movie, is just the stupidest, worst dinosaur that ever existed now, in every movie since then. And there's, like, he's the most inept dinosaur in the world. And then there's a part with, like, raptors, which they're hunting, there's 3 raptors hunting a guy, and a pterodactyl comes down and takes one of the raptors away, but then the other 2 still don't attack the guy. They're just like, oh, well, they took away our third, so let's just leave. And the guy's just like standing there scared because he heard the pterodactyl take away the raptor. But then the other 2 were just like, yeah, screw it. Let's just go. God. And you're like, what the fuck did I just watch? And that's the only time they had raptors in it.
Oh my God.
And it's like, this movie was so fucking bad. Like, the first Jurassic World, it was okay. Second one, horrible. Third one, horrible. And I'm like, this can't be as bad as those. It didn't have Chris Pratt. I guess that's the best thing I could say about the movie. It didn't have Chris Pratt. All the rest of it, he's doing his Costco commercials, so he couldn't do it.
Oh, he's got like 80 commercials he has to do now.
Oh, it's so terrible. But all the rest were it was terrible, Al. It was so bad. And there's been so many bad movies that I've seen this year, and it was the easiest decision I had of what was my worst movie.
Oh man, that sucks. That sucks. I'm not surprised at all. When I saw the trailer for that, my first thought was, so this is you have in the title. That's the dog whistle for, okay, we're restarting. We're not gonna the last 3 movies didn't happen. We're restarting the whole clock again, but not like all the way back, but like most of the way back. No, I don't understand you think Marvel has a bad plan? I don't understand this plan. And it's not like you're the Fast and Furious movies where everybody's like, oh yeah, the dumb dinosaur movie. It's like, no, there's supposed to be pedigree to this movie. And now there's just none. Now there's just garbage, bad acting, bad writing.
Well, it's like the Transformers thing where they, this movie was horrible, but it still made $1 billion worldwide.
Yeah.
Because overseas, they're like, oh, dinosaurs. We don't have to understand anything.
Oh my god, I'm so tired. Can we divide everything up into international and national filmmaking? Like, every studio just divides up. You can have an international wing and a national wing. And if you want to have movies that are made for an international audience, at least have it under an international wing so we can stop being forced to sit through all of these shitbird movies that no one here wants to watch, but that do gonzo gangbusters numbers in China. Like, I'm just fucking so sick of it. I'm so done with it.
Well, and the only reason I watched it is I re-upped in the middle of December. I re-upped Peacock to kind of getting ready for the Olympics, and it's on Peacock for free. And the kids also wanted to watch Bad Guys 2, which was a really good movie. So it was free to watch on Peacock. So I'm like, all right. And oh my god, dude,
why not? Yeah,
atrocious.
Off a duffa. All right, so my list is actually very similar to yours, with a few additions, shall we say. Because otherwise we would just be talking about the exact same 3 movies that you talked about. So I want to throw a few other numbers in there. I want to talk about Killer of Killers. I think that was a great movie. I thought that was so fun. I thought that did everything that an animated movie should do and should be. I really just... the storytelling... the animation itself, the action, the style of it, all of it was so good and brought a new flair and flavor to Predator. I think that's a big thing that, like, if I were in school, I would do a dissertation on, like, the difference between how Alien has gone about trying to grow and how Predator has been going about trying to grow, because it's 2 incredibly different tactics in terms of what the vision is for what they want to do and what they're willing to put into it. I thought Killer of Killers was so good and so fresh and so exciting to watch, and the way that the characters interacted was great. The fact that there was this language barrier between people, seeing these new, interesting, dynamic fighting elements from the Predator that still harken back to the Predator that we know without being disingenuous to that whole element of everything. So I thought Killer of Killers was fucking great. I really enjoyed that.
I agree. And I loved how they weren't afraid to make it a very R-rated movie.
Yes, exactly. It still had teeth, even though it was a quote-unquote animated movie, to which I'm like, have you watched the Mortal Kombat animated movies? Like, animated doesn't mean children. I know a lot of people seem to think it does. It doesn't. It really doesn't.
Nope. I mean, a lot of our DC movies we love are not for kids.
You can't do a lot of what Batman does in some of those movies in a children's movie anymore.
Or Apocalypse War. You can't show Wonder Woman getting ripped apart.
No. Can you imagine your daughter watches these movies that have Starfire and Wonder Woman and Mira, and she's like, I love these characters. And then she watches Apocalypse War, and they're all turned into evil, diabolical robots. And you're like, oh, shit. Ah, dicks. Ah, hell.
That's the best.
So, I love Killer of Killers. I thought that was great. K-Pop Demon Hunters is fantastic. I think that is here more for the soundtrack than necessarily for the movie itself. You can really tell that this was a movie that had about twice as much in it as what ended up being produced. So the story is way bigger than what ends up being produced, and the characterization is way bigger than what they have time for. And so there's a lot of hinting and kind of winking and nodding, and it's a movie that just begs for a 3-hour cut because it so badly needs to be filled out. And the popularity, the ubiquity of it means that we're probably going to get a lot of those elements in the future. I know Netflix has been working hard on making stuff for it moving forward. I want to sit here and be like, I'm not mean. I'm an asshole. And as an asshole, I'm going to sit here and say one of my favorite moments about K-Pop Demon Hunters is how much it cost in terms of Sony makes the whole thing through Sony Animation Studios, which is a big deal. That's a big animated studio, and they look at it as Sony, and they say, it's not going to do anything. This is trash. Let's sell it to Netflix. We'll try and recoup our losses. So they only sold it for how much they spent on it, which was about, I want to say, $200 million. This is a $1 billion franchise.
Yeah.
And Sony was just like, nobody wants this, right? Nobody likes this. This is going to be a horror show. We're going to take a bath on this. You know what? Let's just sell it to Netflix. They're always looking for stuff to put up in their garage sale. We'll just sell it to Netflix. And then Netflix turns around and it's a $1 billion thing. And it's just like, God damn it, Sony. Can you not suck for like 5 minutes?
So
like
dumb.
5 minutes. Can you not suck at what you do? No. Sony universally is terrible at what they do, which is why it's hilarious that people are really happy that Sony still has the rights to Spider-Man, because they know that if Marvel owned it full out, it would be even worse than it already is. So no, I love K-pop Demon Hunters. The best soundtrack of the year by far the best soundtrack that I heard this year. I love Sinners, but there's not bops like there are for K-pop. It's bop city over there. So the last one I wanted to talk about before getting into the movies that you brought up, did you watch Wake Up Dead Man?
I have not.
Okay, so this is the new Knives Out movie. I'm not going to go into any of the details. It's really good. It's really, really good. I really, really enjoy it. It is this perfect distillation of how I feel about religion. Because you have someone who abuses religion, and you have someone who is trying to actually do what religion is supposed to do. And the conflict between those two characters is excellent. The action is great. And of course, you have Benoit Blanc at the center of it. And he has so many great things where he comes in and he basically looks at the church when he begins his investigation. And he's like, this is all bullshit, right? Like, all this is bullshit. I'm not going to sit here and be like, yes, I believe in God. No, this is all bullshit. It's bullshit used to be cruel to others, used to segregate groups, used to keep people in control, used to fearmonger, all these things. And I'm like, yeah, right. And then you have the priest being like, you're not wrong. This building is closer to Disneyland than it is Notre Dame. And you're like, yeah, right. But there's still this discourse about what religion should be, what it can mean to people. And if it's not being bastardized or used for villainy, this is what it can be. And it's great writing. I really love it. And it's a great mystery on top of everything else. I really, really enjoyed that movie a lot. It was really funny because when we went to see it, we saw it in theaters. So we were at my in-laws' house in Troy. So we drove to Albany. That was the closest theater to us that was showing it. The main character of the movie is from Albany. And so every time they're like, the priest from Albany, all the people from Albany in the theater were like, let's talk about Albany. Did you hear they talk about Albany? They said Albany. They just said, where you? And so that was great. I love that. But I thought Wake Up Dead Man was excellent and a great addition. So my top 3, I think, are... God, this is so hard. I think at 28 years later, Sinners and Frankenstein is the best movie I saw last year. I think Sinners, for all the same reasons that you've talked about it, I think it's just so great. It's just such a great, great movie. The characters are so good. And the horror doesn't just come from, blood and monsters, so scary. The horror comes from, I remember feeling this way when watching Fright Night, where you have these characters that you love and you want to see prosper, and you feel for them because they're in these terrible situations that they shouldn't have to be in. And then they become vampires. And you're like, oh no! Oh no! I don't want that. I don't want Haley Steinfeld to turn into a vampire. I just wanted her to be able to have a black boyfriend and not have it be a big deal. So I just that moment when she turns around and her face is covered in blood and you're like, oh, she full turned. Like, she's not herself anymore. She's something new. She's something of herself, but she's also something of these new cravings and desires. And she's not the same person she was. And that to me is so scary. That to me is just like this person that you've known, that you care about, suddenly is still themselves, but very much not. And the things that they go after, the things that they want out of this life are exceptionally different and terrifying. But also just the fact that movie works so hard to incorporate elements of vampire culture that people kind of roll their eyes at. You know, like the whole, you can't they can't come in unless you give them permission and that kind of, like, that was so huge as part of the plot of that movie, and it worked so exceptionally well. And,
it was so great.
Like, the entire thing is so good that even when it gets ridiculous, you're like, oh yeah, okay. The splash of cold water took me a second, but now that it's happened, I'm into it again, and I will never get over that scene where it transcends time and the guy from the 80s dressed as Hendrix and Prince rolled into one person shows up, and you're just like, what the fuck has happened? What is this? So, like, but I love that movie. I thought that movie was spectacular.
Oh, it's so great.
28 years later made me cry. Like, the very real fact is that 28 years later made me weep openly in the theater because it was so beautiful. I love that movie so much. I've been looking at it on the Vudu every week being like, just drop below 10, just drop below 10, just drop below 10, just drop below 10. It's so good. And God, it's really telling because Aaron Taylor Johnson can be good in something and can be absolutely terrible in something as well. He has the capability of doing both. And so I absolutely love that movie. I love what it means. I love the story that it tells. I love the characters in it and just the surprises that come along. I love Ray Fiennes in that movie is great. The little boy is great in that movie.
He's so good.
I know people don't like the Power Ranger ending. I do. I can't help it. I thought it was stupid and fun. It's classic Danny Boyle. You have all this beauty and art and prestige, and then at the very last minute, Power Rangers. And you're like, whoa, hey, whoa. I was all in, and the Power Rangers showed up. I don't know what's going on with that. So I love that. I thought the whole thing was spectacular. But by far, the best movie I saw last year was Frankenstein. Frankenstein is just classic filmmaking. That's all it is. Is films, sets, in a direction. Knowing what you want out of every moment in that movie, and going after it, allowing the film to come to life on its own. You know, there's that story that before Jacob Elordi was on as Frankenstein's monster, it was going to be Andrew Garfield, and they had made all the molds and everything for the monster. And then there was a conflict that came up, and so Garfield had to drop out. You know, they're filming in the middle of the winter up in Scandinavia, and it's frozen, and they just lost their monster, and so they're just filming pickups for Frankenstein running across the ice. Del Toro goes out, and he sees the fog, and he sees the landscape, and he's like, everybody, we're doing this right now. Right now. And so they get everybody together, they do the shots that they need to do, and then as soon as they're done, the fog lifts. And Del Toro's like, this movie's going to take care of itself. I don't even have to do anything. The world itself needs this movie made. I love that movie because it's the best retelling of Frankenstein I've ever seen.
Oh, easily. Because
it's, in some ways, the only retelling of Frankenstein I've ever seen. Because so many other retellings go so different. You know, they're based off of the 1930s movie, which is not based off of the book. It's loosely, theoretically based off the book, but you can tell by this movie just how different the original story was to what we've been raised on for almost 100 years. I thought that this was just brilliant. I thought, you know, you have Mia Goth doing two different roles, and like I didn't even know that she was the mother at the beginning of the movie. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's Mia Goth? There's no way that's Mia Goth. It's Mia Goth. There's color theory, which is so huge. I love color theory. This idea of certain things are a certain color for a certain reason. The actual practical sets, everything in that tower was practical. There were some CGI elements done to make the tower itself, but all of the sets inside the tower, they were all practical. We were trying to eat dinner when we were watching it, and we got to him building the monster, and we were like, we're going to have to come back to this because we're in the middle of it. We cannot.
But it's not grotesque.
It's not grotesque, but it is disgusting. Like, it's like, there are moments where you're just like, and so, but like you need that, right? The guy's literally making a body. Of course, there's going to be moments like that. I love Christoph Waltz in that movie.
I was just gonna say that.
Like, he's so good.
He's like a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
You know, see him in these movies where he's not the lead, but then he steals every scene he's in. Yeah.
I love that the movie is not about the discovery. The movie is about proving the process works.
Yeah.
One of the first scenes we've seen is Oscar Isaac as Frankenstein giving his dissertation to a room full of scholars. And he reanimates a body in the room. Like within the first 10 minutes of the movie, we see him reanimate a body. So this isn't about whether he can or can't. This is about he knows how to do it. He's going to do it. And now this is about the process of him actually doing it. And I just, God, that movie was so fucking good. The costumes were great. Again, this is why you do practical. This is why you spend the money to get everything real. This is why you get lighting and all these other, because there's no floating head. There was no moment where I was like, oh, it's floating head syndrome. There was none of that. You know, when he meets the blind man, when we get Frankenstein's side, the monster side of the story, and all these different elements are so good and so interesting and dynamic, and just like simple things like the monster only being able to say Victor, and Frankenstein like losing his mind over this, like being like, I just need you to say anything besides my name. And then that becomes the thing he's shouting at Victor as they cross the ice. Oh, it's a great movie. If you haven't seen Frankenstein, go and see it, because it's absolutely fucking spectacular.
I love that part of it where he gets so frustrated that the monster only says Victor, but he never really went out of his way to do what the blind man did and to actually teach him like reading and like really get him to learn. And so you're seeing the frustrations. And it really, I think the thing that I loved about this is in a lot of adaptations, they don't necessarily show Victor as the bad guy.
Yeah.
But this movie, it's like, oh, he's the bad guy. Like, without question.
He's the protagonist, and then he flips to the antagonist halfway through the story. Once he flips that switch, he becomes the antagonist.
Like, really bad antagonist.
And he is all about, like, trying to stop the monster and not, he's not trying to... again, it's one of those classic, like... You are your parents. The worst things that your parents did to you, you will do to your kids, and you won't even realize that you're doing them at the time. And God, it's just such a good movie. I love that movie so much. Great. It's absolutely spectacular. It's like almost like a reverse Departed, where when Scorsese won Best Director for Departed, everybody was like, oh, like this is because he didn't win for Raging Bull and for Mean Streets and for Goodfellas and all these other movies. And I'm like, yeah. When Del Toro won for Shape of Water, there was a lot of like, oh, is it the best movie? I don't know. I think it's just because he's so artistic and they wanted to give him an award for being artistic.
It should have won for Pan's Labyrinth.
He should win for this. If he doesn't win for Frankenstein, that is impossible to me, because this is one of his notebooks, one of his famous notebooks where he writes everything down. I want to buy one of those if I ever become rich. I just want one of Del Toro's notebooks. I don't even care what movie it's to, you get pulled Harry Potter style into his notebook. This is his world, his vision, and he takes us along for the whole time. I love that movie. I
agree with you, and I don't know, because even though I like Sinners for let's just say non-technical reasons, where when I look at Frankenstein, I love the movie, and technically you can see that it's a better made movie. Mm-hmm. And so that's where I agree with you with him needing to win the Oscar, because in my opinion, I don't know of another movie that's going to be able to take the cinematography, the set design, the costumes, like all of the extra things that go together to make a movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know how he couldn't. Like, if it isn't, it'll be that whole, the award shows don't like horror movies, and they don't want to give the awards to horror or comedy, but it's like, I think you have to. I agree with you. It's a masterpiece.
It is a masterpiece.
Of all of his great movies, I think it was between, as much as I love like the Hellboys and all that, it was between this and Pan's Labyrinth of what I thought was his best achievement as a filmmaker. I would agree with that. I would put this above it, just because this one, this one is more of a, I don't want to say straight retelling, because I think that undersells it. But Pan's Labyrinth, I think you have to have a deeper appreciation for cinema to really get some of the things that happen in it. Where this one, you just need to understand what a good movie is. Yeah. And you can watch it and be like, holy shit, that's a great movie.
I think what's great about both of them is that it shows his growth as a filmmaker. Because Pan's Labyrinth is kind of where so many of the tools in the bag that come back for Frankenstein really begin. And then they grow over that period of time through Hellboy and through Shape of Water and through Crimson Peak and all these other movies that he's made in the interim. And then all those tools come right back to Frankenstein. And it really is just like, one is how great of a young filmmaker he is, and one is showing how proficient, so exuberantly proficient he is at using that filmmaker's tool bag to really make a story that is uber impactful and rewrites how we think of a legacy character that has been with us, again, for almost 100 years. Like Frankenstein's monster, beyond the character from the book, what that iconography has been in America for almost 100 years is so separate from what Del Toro gives us. And it reframes that to make it be like, oh, the green skin one, the one that's a joke, the one that's a bit, this isn't the real Frankenstein. This is the bit. This is the real Frankenstein now. If you want the real Frankenstein, it's this. If you want the bit Frankenstein, it's this. And so that movie is spectacular. I have not watched any of the dramas or foreign films that are going to inevitably be nominated, so I can't say for certain, but I would love to see Sinners win Best Picture, Frankenstein win Best Director. I think I would be more than satisfied with that as a resolution to the year. I think by far those are the two best movies.
And what really caught me with Frankenstein, in once again, I love that we have these contrasts. When Superman came out, and you have supposedly the biggest fan of the character, and then he bastardizes the character and changes some of his origin and changes his family, to you have Del Toro, who's like, I am a massive fan of gothic horror, and Frankenstein is one of my favorite characters, and he did such justice to the story, and didn't say, well, you know what, we're going to change Victor to Jonathan, because I think the name is better than Victor, but I can make that change because I know these characters. It's like, no, don't have the arrogance to change the story, have the arrogance to say, I can make the best version of this story. And that's what Del Toro did. It's like, like you said, the closest comparison in Frankenstein movies is the Kenneth Branagh one. And now that movie is unwatchable. Because you watch De Niro and you're like, I can't take him serious as the monster. And it's telling the same story, but you can see one that is done with true passion and one that's done out of like a vanity.
Yeah,
product.
one that's like, oh, we're going to give you Frankenstein. Go ahead and, here's $100 million. But like, it wasn't like the guy came in and was like, I'm doing this. And it's like, that is Del Toro, is I'm doing this. This is what's going to happen. And you can trust me because I'm motherfucking Guillermo del Toro. And so that movie to me will forever have its own place in history because it was able to escape the orbit of what had been Frankenstein. If you look at the Frankenstein's monster in Frankenstein and you look at fucking Kevin James's character in Hotel Transylvania, you're like, I think this is the difference. I think this is the difference between these 2 points in history.
This is not Herman Munster.
No, sure. Exactly. Like, we're so far removed from any of those ideas that to try and compare it back to them is laughable. You're like, that's so dumb. We're so far beyond that. We can't even begin to try and do that. The worst movie I saw last year was...
and once again, as a horror movie fan and a classic horror movie fan, we got Nosferatu last year, or the year before last, which I adored. And we got Frankenstein last year, which I adored. I'm really hoping they do justice to the werewolf. So, because if we could have those big three basic characters just done so well, I can take those three movies and just be happy. It's like, I don't need to see another version of these characters. I'm happy.
We have it now. We're all set. We're good. We don't need to move on from this. This is perfect.
Exactly.
The worst movie I saw last year was Snow White. It was bad.
I knew you were going to say that.
It was really bad. I'm looking at the other movies I watched last year that were like, there wasn't anything that I watched last year that was like cataclysmically bad, right? I think like the things that come to mind are like Weapons was a good movie with a terrible title. These kinds of things where it's like, this isn't a problem, but it's not like, there are problems, but it's not like a death knell problem. Thunderbolts, oh, this isn't good. It's not as bad as it could be, but it's definitely not good. It's kind of stupid, and you killed off one of your main characters in the first 5 minutes. I don't understand. Again, I don't understand the plotting or any theoretical ideas behind what's happening here. It doesn't make any sense. I saw Cyrano last year for the first time. That was bad. I saw Kraven the Hunter for the first time last year. That was bad. These are not good movies, right? These are bad movies.
Yeah.
Snow White was so bad. It was, how bad was this movie? It was so bad that I looked down and looked up and her mother had died. I don't know how it happened. It happened so fast that I literally looked down and looked up and she was dead mid-song. And I was like, what the fuck is this? The writing, awful. Throughout the entire thing, terrible writing. Gal Gadot's quote-unquote acting, awful. So bad. The only thing worse than her acting was her singing. Terrible. Top to bottom. And then you get into we're going to have dwarves, but we're not going to have dwarves, but we're going to have CGI dwarves, but we're not going to do dwarves, but we're also going to have the second set of dwarves, and we're definitely going to do the original dwarves, but we're going to completely change them and make it so you can't recognize any of them, and we're going to have them introduce themselves over and over again. They're going to have magic hands, but it's never going to come up again in the entire story. So fucking bad. Like, everything about that movie was so trash. It was the only movie I walked out of last year, and I was in my own house. Like, it was so bad. It was such a bad movie. Triple F bad. The only thing that I'm disappointed in is that it was so spectacularly bad that Disney canceled all their plans for remakes, and then Lilo and Stitch broke even, so now they've cast Rapunzel and Finn Rider. And I'm like, God damn it.
Oh, God.
We were so close. We were so close to being done with this stupid thing, and now it's back, and now we're doing it again. Can we just stop with this nonsense? Disney, I gotta tell you, shutter your doors for 3 years.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just stop making content for 3 years. And reset everything and decide who you want to actually be in this life. Because Lord knows you're so much closer to evil than good. Yeah. I'm not just saying that as like, I hate Marvel movies and I hate Star Wars. I'm saying that in terms of like your public perception in the world. You look terrible. People don't like you. You are in many ways a face of villainy in this world. I think you just gotta not do it, man.
Yeah. And what's funny, and I'm glad you brought up Disney, because I noticed this the other day. I was looking through like the new movies to buy on Apple. And remember the days when it used to be Disney Vault, you would be able to buy like a VHS once every couple years, maybe once every 10 years. Right now, every Disney movie is on sale for $4.99 in the Apple Store.
They're all like $5 right now.
They're all $5, and it's like, it's gotten to the point, thanks to their streaming service, that their movies have lost such value that now they're $5 a piece.
Well, it's funny because it's all going to come around. Right now, what I've been doing is Great Escape style, building a back door into the Disney Vault.
Okay.
And so every once in a while, I'll just go into the Disney Vault and I'll pick something up for $5 and I'll walk it back and put it in my Voodoo. And I'll go into the Disney Vault and I'll pick something up and I'll walk it out and I'll put it in my Voodoo. And I just do that whenever stuff comes up that I want, with the idea being, I'm going to cut the cord though, right? Like the big thing is like, I just got all of Always Sunny. That was like the big thing that was keeping me connected to Hulu.
Gotcha.
It's like that and Prey. So now I need to get a Blu-ray copy of Prey. And then I'm pretty much at the point where I'm going to cut the cord on Hulu, because I'm like, I don't really use this for anything. Why would I pay $25 a month for something that I'm not going to really use? I can use that money towards groceries or gas or any number of other things. I'm just going to spend $100, buy all of Always Sunny and anything else that I know I'm going to want. And then, I spend that in 4 months. I spend that 3 times a year for Disney Plus now. So it's like, we don't need to do that, man. We're good. I'm good. I don't need to do that.
That's one of the few streaming services we still have, and the only reason we have it is my daughter just loves everything on Disney Plus. If it wasn't for her, we probably wouldn't have it for anything either, All right, so we got to move on to our final category, which is games. Now, I'm going to preface this. Of all the new games I've played this year, I have not played what I would consider a bad game. So I don't have any on my bad list.
What about Mario Kart World Tour? Because you came out pretty hard against it.
It's disappointing. It's not what I would consider bad, because it's playable. It looks nice. It's got great gameplay. It's just, it was lazily done. So I can't say it's bad, because I thought about that one. I kicked that around. It's like, okay, what would I consider? Like, to me, a bad game is one that's just broken. Like, when Cyberpunk first came out, and you could barely play it because it was just, everything was broken about it. That, to me, was bad. Now it's great. But, like, that, to me, was a bad game.
Yeah.
Mario Kart ran great.
Yeah.
Looked great. it was just empty. So it was tough for me to say it's a bad game. So number 3 on my list is Donkey Kong Bonanza. Loved it. Still playing through it. It is the kind of game that you need to, it's kind of like that palate cleanser where you're like getting, you know, if you're playing like a really serious game and you're like, you know what, I just want to go break things for a while. Donkey Kong Bonanza. You have beautiful, it's a beautiful game, runs great, runs smooth as hell. I do have to make a shout out. The more I thought about it when I was doing this review, Switch 2 is now my favorite system ever. It was Switch 1. But now I'm playing games that were on Switch 1 that are now on Switch 2 and better because I've been playing a ton of Animal Crossing getting ready for this update. It's my favorite console ever. So it's like all of these games are going to be Switch because, you know, even though we do have a PS5 and I do have an Xbox account, I'm only playing Switch 2 now. That's pretty much it. So some of these games, 2 of them I know are cross-platform. Donkey Kong Bonanza is my only like specific to the console. I didn't want to pick games that are like retreads, so like the Zelda retreads that they just did updates to, like Xenoblade X came to Switch, but it's just a port of, you know, another. So I didn't put them on there. But Donkey Kong Bonanza, great game. I highly recommend it. You know, it every now and then there are some camera issues when you're like really getting underground and punching things, and the camera kind of goes a little nuts here and there. But overall, it's a really fun game. Number 2, Final Fantasy Tactics. This is the only reason I went back against my remake is this is a very old game that's pretty much got a brand new full coat of paint. Love this game. To this day, still one of my favorite tactics games. I had to laugh when I looked at this though because, you know, I've put probably 20 hours into this game. You know, I've put some time into it. I'm going to assume Kelly really, really, really likes Octopath Traveler 0 because I saw how much time she's put into it.
She does.
I was like, wait a second. That game just came out like a month ago. She likes that game.
Yeah, she's playing it as we speak.
I bet she is. I still have to play that. That's on the horizon. But this is the surprise. My favorite game of this year, and I'm going to say it's my favorite because it came out at the right time, the most stressful time of the year for me, which was, it was beginning of November. I think it was end of October, beginning of November when this game came out. And it scratched that itch of I need something that I can just shut off my brain and it looks beautiful and it's relaxing and it's a game called Cast and Chill. I don't know if you've heard of this game.
Is this a fishing game?
It is the fishing game. It is just an 8-bit fishing game that has the most beautiful 8-bit scenery you've ever... Like, it's unbelievably gorgeous. It has very calm music. You just go out on your boat. You choose your dog in the beginning of the game. I chose a husky.
Oh, nice.
And you can upgrade your boat. You know, as you catch fish, they all have different values. And then when you go back, once you fill up your fishing box, you go back to the guy that runs the fishing shop, and you can upgrade your boat, your line, your lures, but that's it. There's no stress. You can, like, if you decide that you want to fish in the daytime and it's night, you're in your boat, you can just choose to sleep. And then you sleep in your boat, and then you see the time change and all the scenery change and the different animals come out. It's the most relaxing game you'll ever play. There were a couple times that I was so bent out of shape and I was so stressed, and I'm like, I'm never going to get to sleep. I don't, like, just ready to jump off the roof. And I put this game on, and 45 minutes in, I'm like, I might fall asleep playing this. And it's not a bad thing. It's not like I'm falling asleep because it's so bad. It was so relaxing. And I absolutely love it. Like, would I say it's the best made game? Of course not. They're, you know, bigger budget, third-party games. But as a game that just fit me at the right time, this game is so good. And anyone that has stress or has an issue with insomnia, I recommend buying this. It's like $15. It is the most relaxing game. And on Switch 2, it looks amazing. It runs perfectly. I mean, it's not a taxing game, so it's not going to take a lot of stress. But, like, I've been gravitating more to these relaxing games because of all the stresses in my life. And right now, I'm pretty much going back and forth. I still play some Fortnite, and there's a new South Park season, which is great. I don't play as much, though. But right now, I'm going back and forth between Animal Crossing and Cast and Chill because I just need to de-stress. I don't need an adventure. I don't need a long story. I just need something where I can just shut my brain off and just. I planted this new. I created a new island because I did transfer Animal Crossing over to the Switch 2, and when I did the transfer, I screwed it up and we lost the island. So I created the new Buttopia. So my daughter and I have been rebuilding it, and my house is on an island on my island. And my island has a second level, and the second level I made a massive tomato farm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just I'll go up there and I'm watering my tomatoes. Mm-hmm. And it takes 20 minutes to water all my tomatoes, but I'm smiling from ear to ear because I have no stress.
Yeah.
And it's relaxing.
Yeah, I feel that.
And so, Cast and Chill, as far as new games, once again, if you're somebody that, needs to play a game like God of War, do not get Cast and Chill. If you are somebody that's you know what, I just need a cozy blanket, Cast and Chill is that cozy blanket.
It sounds way better than the fire simulator that was going around, the fire making simulator.
Yeah, because that you're just building a fire.
And then you just sit by the fire, and that's the game. That's the entire game, and it costs $15. Who the fuck buys? Why the fuck would you do that? What the hell is wrong with you? Anyway.
No, that's just dumb.
So my honorable mention for Christmas, Kelly got me Indiana Jones and the Golden Circle. So I've been playing that.
Great game, isn't it?
It's really good. I have a few, of course, me being me, I have a few qualms with it. Not necessarily complaints, but yeah. So I love that the beginning of the game begins with Raiders. It's just the beginning of Raiders. It's excellent. I love it. It's so great. I like that we get a little bit of extra information about Indy that we didn't get. There's this whole thing with Marion Ravenwood that we've never talked about what happened with Marion. What was that all about? So we get a little bit of that here. There's a lot of good indie adventure. It has a lot of great indie taste and flair to it, going around some of these catacombs and things. I wish to God it wasn't first person. You only have the option of first person unless you're climbing on something, and it makes me
I agree.
So fucking crazy. I hate it. I hate it being in first person. It's so maddening to have it be stuck in first person all the time. The whip mechanics are good, but extremely iffy at times. There are definitely some times where it's climb your whip, and it's I don't know how to climb the whip. Oh, fell. And you're just now I got to climb all the way back up, and to do that I have to sneak around these guards, and you couldn't have just climbed the whip. What was that all about? And I went from level 2 to level 3 without realizing that was what was going to happen. This is a game that because there's a lot of puzzles that you just kind of run into. And there's not necessarily push this, and now pull this, and now do this, and then do that, and you solve the puzzle. It's just here's a room, and there's 9 statues with basins full of oil, and you can light the basins on fire. And when you light them all up, nothing happens. And you're but something's supposed to happen, right? Because I level up by solving these kinds of puzzles. So there's definitely. All right, I'll come back to this. I went and I finished the mission that I was on, and wouldn't you know it, the end of that mission takes you to the next level, which is in Cairo. So we're leaving Italy and going to Cairo, and I'm well, I guess I'm not gonna solve that puzzle. That's just gonna remain a mystery because I didn't know I was getting on a plane at the end of this level. I would have liked to have known that was going to happen. That would have been pretty cool to hear about. But I do really like it. It has really good flavor. It is a little stressful to play. I won't lie to you. It is a little bit stressful to play at times. But it is really, really good.
And Troy Baker nailed the voice.
Oh, he did.
His voice is...
He nailed the voice beautiful. And the movement. It is playing as Indy. It's really good. Yeah. Tony Todd plays a guy in it, which was really interesting to see.
Yes.
It's all right, Tony Todd.
Last things he did.
Yeah. So, but I really like it. It's a good game. At one point I got in a fight with Tony Todd's character, who they make at I think they make him 7.5 feet tall in the game. He's this monster. At one point I got very annoyed fighting him, and I just took out my revolver indie style and just shot him a bunch of times until he went down. I was all right, we're moving on. We're done with this. But so that was great. We did play Imprisoning War, Zelda Imprisoning War. This is a great game. I haven't gotten a chance to talk about it. This is the Koei fighting game for Zelda that came out in November. It's Zelda is the lead for the first time ever. And
Age of
Imprisoning War, yeah.
Yes, Ethan got that for Christmas, but we haven't played it yet.
Great. It's great. And honestly, the thing that we came away from it feeling was this game should have come out before Tears of the Kingdom. I don't know if there was a production issue or something where they thought that Tears of the Kingdom needed to be done first. This game 100% should have come out before Tears of the Kingdom, because all of the problems in Tears of the Kingdom story, which is to say all the lulls where things happen and you're like, why did that happen? And then it's never explained, or all the characters that you meet and they don't have names or faces. And you're like, what's up with that? And then we just move on. That's all resolved in Imprisoning War. It's really good. It's really fun to play. Classic Koei fighting game, just hordes of monsters that you tear through. But it's so great because you have Zelda as the lead character. Finally, the tutorial, the entire tutorial, you have to play as Zelda, and it's like, wow, Zelda's the lead character in a Zelda game. That's crazy, but it's so good, and it explores that story and world in such a fun and adventurous way. The characters that are introduced are really interesting. None of them are obnoxious. Some of them are pointless. There's way more characters than they needed. Because essentially what they do is you have Zelda, Rauru, Minoru, and then you have the 4 guardians that they establish, and who are all great, by the way. You have, I think my favorite is Kia, who is the Zora that they introduce. She's the new queen of the Zora. And she is just like very suspicious of everybody. She doesn't like people. And it's like, oh, this is so different from the Zoras I've hung out with. Wow, she is like really dynamic and interesting. You have your General Goron chieftain, who's just a nice, friendly, affable guy. You have this really fun storyline with the Gerudo, because they're trying to figure out which side of this war they're going to fight on. You have several Link surrogates, which is great. So you have the A plot and the B plot. And so you have the A plot is Zelda and the Guardians and the Champions. And then the B plot is this Korok comes along and accidentally activates Construct. He finds a shard of the Master Sword that came with Zelda through time, and it accidentally activates this construct. And so this construct is essentially Link. And so you can play as Link that way. Or you can play as the Korok, who is also essentially Link in a lot of ways. And so it's just, they have this really great dynamic between the two of them. They're very fun in terms of watching them. There's some really great moments where we were watching things happen, and we're like, oh my God, I didn't know he knew how to do that. That's fucking crazy. What just happened? So like, I really loved it. The issue is that for every race in the game, they make 3 characters. So you have the champion and then other characters. So you have the Goron champion and then 2 other Gorons. And you have the Zora champion and then 2 other Zoras. And then you have Zelda and then 2 other Hylians. And then you have Rito and then 2 other... And a lot of those B, C characters are pointless. They don't have good movesets. They're not necessary to the story. They don't bring anything interesting to it. They're part of the B plot because the story behind the game is that while everything's happening with the champions, you have this Korok and this construct going around finding all these people who also want to fight against Ganondorf, but aren't high-ranking members of their own military or chieftains or whatever. So this is like, oh, we're going to pick up all the loose allies we could have, and they're going to be part of the B plot. And then we have the A plot where we have all the characters that we care about. But because of that, a lot of the B plot characters are just pointless and stupid. And if they don't have good movesets, you're like, oh, I have to play as him? Oh, I don't want to play as him. He sucks. I like the game. It's great. The action and the story is excellent. It's a great build-in to the lore of Tears of the Kingdom. And really just finishes off a lot of really strong elements. There's a great reveal about the Korok at the end of the game that was just like, oh, I was hoping they were going there. Oh, God, that's so cool. That's so fucking dope. I love that. So, like, great game. A lot of fun to play. A lot of mindless violence. So Some of the cutscenes are a little, but like by and large, really like that game. The best game that I played this year.
I hear it runs far better on the Switch 2 than the other two did on Switch 1.
Yeah, I would say so. It still has some slowdown moments, but it doesn't run janky at all. It runs smooth. It just like but the best game that I played this year was Ghost of Yotei, which I've talked about on the show. But
I knew that was coming.
More. But that game is just like, it's a beautiful game. Revisiting it now in the New Game Plus is like they fixed all the quality of life issues that the game had to begin with. So like the issues where you have to follow an animal and you can't always see where the animal is going, they now have an icon that you can toggle on and off to show you where the animal is. So you can follow that instead of having to be like, where did that bird go? I don't know where that bird went. I can't figure it out. The ability to change a lot of the settings in New Game Plus. So it's like, I don't like how this mechanic works in the game, so I'm going to set that to easy, so it's not as much of a pain in the ass to deal with. But I'm still going to have combat be set to hard, so that it still feels like good combat, but it has a little bit of a less of a curve in terms of like completing this move or doing this thing. So it's a great game made even better by the New Game Plus element of it. I just love that game. It's so beautiful to look at. The writing is great. The action is fantastic. And it's just so crisp and clean. It's a really good, excellent game. I don't play bad games. Like, I don't waste my time on bad games. I don't really have like the worst game I played this year was watching the Bills fight the Miami Dolphins. That was the worst game I played this year. That was a fucking tragedy. And if I had to pick like a worst game moment, it was like a few Bills football games where I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, real life there were enough games that were terrible, so I wouldn't disagree with you on that. Yeah. Oh, and speaking of which, a quick shout out to the Rams, who barely hung on against the Panthers.
Is that game over?
And won 34-31.
Wow, closer than you would have thought.
Game over, 34-31, barely hung on. Right now, Chicago's up 3-0 on Green Bay. They just kicked a field goal, so
I think Chicago's going to win that game.
That's starting well.
A lot of people think Green Bay's going to win. I think Chicago's going to win that game.
I think Chicago's going to win also, but I'm curious to see what's going to happen next. Because if everything goes the way it should, they're going to play, I believe, the Rams.
They would play no. If the Niners win, they'll play the Niners. Otherwise, they'll play the Rams.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, that's where I'm going to be. Like Green Bay, they've played them twice already in the last month. So if there's a team that they know they can beat at home, it's Green Bay. Mm-hmm. But then when you get one of these teams like the Rams with their offense, and that's where it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. I'll say this about the Bills tomorrow. Everybody and their cousin with the coaching carousel going at full speed now. With Harbaugh getting fired and then the Dolphins being like, oh, we're going to gut our entire team so we can try and get Harbaugh, and all the madness that's going on. People are like, there's been more teams asking about Harbaugh's service than teams that have coaching vacancies. What's up with that? Because I think there's 7 teams with vacancies, and I think 11 teams have reached out to Harbaugh's camp about coming in to coach. People are like, oh, who do you think? Oh, you think the Bills? Yes. 100. If the Bills go out tomorrow, McDermott's going to be fired. Like, there is no world. Mm-hmm. We can lose the game tomorrow 31-33, and I would still say fire McDermott.
And I'll be honest, if they don't fire him...
I don't know, man.
If they don't fire him, they need to go after McDaniels as the offensive coordinator. Because he sucks as a head coach, but as the OC...
But he's a great coordinator.
He would be amazing as the OC. With Josh Allen and Cooks, he would be amazing. It's like, I would go...
Well, like, that's the thing that's holding us back. There's 2 things holding us back right now. 1, the entire team is based around offense, defense, special teams. It's all based around Josh Allen.
Yes.
There is no... The air defense is okay. The ground defense is atrocious. It's so bad. And even though it's been getting better in the last few weeks, it's still not good. What is the unifying principle between all of these things? It's that the coaching staff fucking sucks, man.
Yeah.
Joe Brady doesn't know his own dick from his asshole. Like, he's an idiot. This guy can't run anything.
Because you're right. Josh Allen is amazing, and I can understand why they would want to wrap their team around him. But it's official now. They have the rushing champion for 2025 on your team. It's like, dude, maybe also build the game plan around him?
Well, not only that, one of the reasons Harbaugh got fired that people haven't been talking about, people are like, oh, why would you fire Harbaugh? He has this record over the course of the 18 years. Why would you fire him? I don't know. What about the 3 times this year where Derrick Henry just wasn't in the game in late period games where they needed to win? And when asked about John Harbaugh was like, I didn't know that happened. I'll have to get back to you on that. What do you mean you didn't know that happened? What are you talking about? You didn't know that. That's fireable on its own. That's on its own. That's a fireable offense. The reason he got fired was because the owner of the Ravens went to him and said, we want to keep you and not your coordinators. And Harbaugh said, well, it's either me and my coordinators or none of us. And the owner said, then I guess you're fired because we are not putting up with these shit ass coordinators that you've been hawking around. And Harbaugh said, well, I'm only here with my coordinators. And they said, well, then you're gone. So at the very least, we need to get rid of Joe Brady and Babich, get them out of here. But honestly, at this point, I'm done with McDermott because the reason we didn't win the division this year was because of that Miami game. What was the issue with that Miami game? It was that the team wasn't ready. The game plan wasn't ready. The players weren't ready. They actively said afterwards that they didn't prepare because they thought it was going to be a cakewalk game. Whose job is that? Oh, wait, that's right. It's McDermott's job to get everything ready and have everybody keyed in and make sure that everybody knows, like, you can't sleep on this. We're not looking ahead. We are focused on this. And he didn't do it. And I turned off that game when I saw him screaming and shouting at his defense. And I'm like, I don't want you to be screaming and shouting during the game to wake up. What? You had 7 days to be ready for this game. What the actual fuck were you doing during that time? Because it wasn't getting ready for this game. So I don't know what you did. I agree with you. I am waiting for the mutual parting of ways between McDermott and the Bills if they can't get it done this year because there's no excuse. You know, there's just absolutely fucking no excuse at this point. Get it fucking done. Get it done. The other thing is, Brandon Beane, you got like 2 years to figure out some of these roster slots because this shit ain't working. You don't know how to draft. You draft 1 out of every 5 players well, which is overall a good number, but not a championship number, right? You got to be a better drafter than that. You keep drafting these a-holes between Kaiir Elam and Keon Coleman. You keep drafting these a-holes who don't know how to do their job and then end up getting essentially ostracized because they refuse to do their job. And so, like, Keon Coleman was sat healthy scratch for like 4 games this year because he didn't show up to practice. Why did you draft him?
And it was during the meat of the season when they needed to win.
You traded value twice to draft him. Twice you traded value to draft him. And this is the this was the plan. This was the guy that you said it was going to work. Okay, so we know that's a wash. You know where we knew that? Before the trade deadline, Bean. Do you want to go out and offer a 2 for DJ Moore to the Bears when they're in the middle of their season and they haven't hit their high point? Do you want to offer a 2 to the Panthers for one of their receivers? Do you want to offer a 2 to the Rams for one of their guys? Do you want to offer a 2 to anybody for a good receiver? My God, we just need a decent receiver. And he's like, well, I found Brandon Cooks in the bargain bin. I think that'll be fine. It's like, for fuck's sake, what is wrong with you? Just get a guy. You know what would have solved this problem in the first place? Not trading for Diggs and just taking Justin Jefferson in 2020. If we had just not traded for Diggs and we had just gone with Justin Jefferson, we wouldn't have this problem. But here we are.
Yeah. But you're foregoing the number one thing that Bean will always have hanging around his neck in Buffalo. He traded picks to Kansas City to allow them to get multiple things that made their team so much better. Twice. That's what I mean. It's like that alone is when you are intentionally helping your biggest rival get better, that does not make you a good GM.
No.
Period.
No. I would rather at this point bring back Dable as head coach and McDaniels as offensive coordinator. Like, I would settle for that at this point. I am done.
I think that would be good.
I'm done with this shit, man.
If you can find a way to get, I don't know if you could get the last 2 Dolphins coaches together, But
Flores and
what's his face
McDaniel?
in Minnesota, Flores. If you get Flores as the head coach, because I think that's what Buffalo really desperately needs. Because the one thing I've noticed this year is it seems like there's a lack of discipline and a lack of focus. You need that guy to be like, you know, the only reason I'm really sticking with that is I've seen it on my team this year. That was the thing that they had been missing for years. And they got a guy who does not let them get away with anything on the team in Ben Johnson. Like, he is what they say, you know, even though he seems like the fun guy who's always doing these, these post-game, ripping his shirt off and all that. In practice, he does not let them get away with anything. And that's what Buffalo needs. They need a guy with the passion and the strength to be like, you're going to do it my way, and there is no missing practice. Keon Coleman, you're off the team. There isn't even
You're done.
thought of you. No. You're just done.
You're done. We're done.
That's what they need.
We're gonna put you on the practice squad and you get signed off waivers. Okay, fine. You know, like it's a failed experiment. We're not playing this game. No, I agree with you. I take it back. Flores and McDaniel, especially because if we won with Flores and McDaniel, it would make it that much sweeter because we would look at Miami and be like, I don't know, you had both these guys in your building. I don't know what happened.
That would be amazing. I didn't even think about that side of it. Yeah, that would be cool. Oh, man. All right. Well, you know what?
I think that's a show.
That was a good return to form, I think. That was a good show. What do you folks think? You know how you could let us know what you think? Go to nerdpodgen.com. There is a place on the final page where you can actually email us and let us know what you think. You can also let us know through YouTube comments, through comments on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. But the only way you could do that is if you go to those and you subscribe to our podcast, you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then just let us know what you think. Because, you know, we've been doing this now 178 episodes, and we still are trying to improve. Because 178, we're still a baby. In the podcast market, we're toddlers. We would like to become adults.
Yeah, 250. Episode 250 is like, okay, you're 5 years old. That's when you're like 5 years old. you have to make it to 250 before you're like, you start remembering things, as it were.
Yes, I agree. And so, folks, please, you know, when you're done listening to the show, if you like what you heard, go back and listen to our back catalog. There is a lot of pure gold that we've recorded over these last few years. Also, make sure, once again, nerdpodgen.com. And Neil, who does our music and our artwork?
Our artwork is by Kortney Howell. Our music is by Brendan Williams and James Connolly. My favorite thing about going to the back catalog is for episodes like this where we're reviewing things that we've already reviewed, you can go in there and see like all the gory details of like, oh, here's the play-by-play on why Andor is on both my good and bad list for last year. So go and check
some of those
out.
Andor episodes are fantastic.
Oh my god.
Fantastic.
Some are fantastic and some are dumpster fires.
Yeah, very big dumpster fires. We're back, folks, so don't expect another lull. We're going to hopefully be recording weekly. We still don't know what the hell we're going to talk about next week, but we will hopefully be recording weekly. And once again, I am Steve Taylor.
I'm Alfred Judson, and we'll see you next week, friends and enemies.
Have a great day.